Hello my friends, and welcome back to another Brotato Ultimate Nightmares run, where we take the characters that are hardest to beat on the new Nightmare mode, as chosen by you, and try to win with them. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're playing the Generalist, which at first glance might not look like a character that's super hard to beat on Nightmare mode, because it looks like it gives you a bunch of extra damage. That's actually not true. The Generalist, in fact, has no real upside, and is, for the most part, just slightly worse than a character that has no abilities at all. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we play through the run, but this is actually a pretty tough Nightmare mode run. The normal way to play the Generalist is to build something like Cacti Club, which uses both melee and ranged damage, at least on paper. But in practice, the projectiles from Cacti Club are just so weak, and this item is kind of bad, this weapon's kind of bad overall. So I think trying to make this weapon work is part of why people are struggling with the Generalist, and we're not going to do that. The way that we're going to play the Generalist is to start with Javelin and use a mix of Javelins and Spears, basically getting 6 of the same weapon, and that way we can kind of pretend that the downside of the Generalist, where it forces you to use 3 ranged and 3 melee weapons, making your movement more awkward, making your weapon upgrades more awkward, doesn't exist. And we'll just be playing a character that has effectively no abilities instead of a character that has worse than no abilities. We'll take the Spear here, that's great. Lock a Weird Food, perfect. And finding both Spear and Javelin is really nice. Very happy about that. I think what I'm going to do here is actually buy the Javelin, lock the Spear, and then for 2, I'm going to reroll, because we could find a Javelin here, I think, so that is, I think, worth spending 2 materials looking for a second weapon there. I didn't want to reroll again for 3, but the 2 I felt was a reasonable expenditure. So the reason that I say that the Generalist has no upside is, yes, it gives you ranged damage when you buy melee damage, and vice versa, but it doesn't actually increase the total amount of damage that you get. It lets you, for example, take this ranged damage, so you can buy damage more often at the same cost, but it doesn't give you any more than a normal character would get by spending the same amount of money. And so most of the time you can save a little bit of money on re-rolling less, but otherwise it's not an actual upside. And you end up as a character that has basically no upsides, and a fairly substantial downside with being forced to have more awkward movement and harder weapon levels to achieve. Here I'm just going to take the armor. I've re-rolled too many times. I was hoping to find more harvesting, more melee damage or attack speed, but more harvesting was what I was looking for there. But we'll just re-roll until we take the armor, and then we'll lock a Javelin here and go to wave 3. Another difficulty for this character is I think it's particularly challenging to play on Crash Zone, and that's part of why we've chosen this weapon set, is to fix that. Because Crash Zone punishes ranged weapons if they don't have a lot of damage with the enhanced flies, and punishes melee weapons if they don't have a lot of range with the summoners. Both of those are really hard to beat. And the Generalist is in an awkward spot where it suffers all of the downsides of a melee character against the summoners, and all the downsides of a ranged character against the enhanced flies, without the upsides of either, really. Here I can take 8 harvesting. I would have loved the 3 regen as well, but I do want to get to 21 harvesting quickly. I'll take the Weird Food and Baby Gecko here, and we'll wait on the Jerky for 1 more round. I'll lock a Spear, that's great. That'll fill out my weapon set, and then we can just ban Scared Sausage. Given that we have a level 2 Spear locked, I could find a level 1 Spear or Javelin, so I'm going to reroll here. We could also just find other good items, like Shady Potion and Weird Food. So we have an excellent shop locked. I just need to survive this wave. Since we are getting a lot of consumable healing early with double Weird Food and Jerky, that incentivizes me to build luck. So I'm a little more interested in buying luck upgrades. We're not going to go wildly out of our way for it, but consumable healing is now a really powerful tool for us since we have so much of it. So any luck we get is slightly increased in value. Try to kill that tree before the end of the wave. Duct tape will take for sure, and then here, my damage is pretty low, so I could take the armor, or I could roll. I could take the luck, like I talked about, but I would take armor over luck. Armor's too good. Or I could roll for melee damage, ranged damage, or attack speed. I think I'm just going to take the armor, but there's definitely an argument for potentially looking for a damage stat there as well. Then we'll buy the javelin here, and I have guaranteed weapons locked in the shop, so I want to re-roll at least a little bit. We'll take a butterfly as well. That will be good healing also. This level, I need to pick up some damage output. I got some harvesting, but and I was intending to go to 21 harvesting before we stop rolling for harvesting, but we've also found a lot of really strong healing and economy items at this point, so no additional damage output items. So what I really need to focus on is making sure my weapons actually kill stuff, especially going into wave 6. So we're going to hope for a blue ranged or melee damage level up, or an attack speed level up here. Normally you would take the harvesting in this spot, but like I talked about, we need damage output, so I'm going to roll. Though 2 armor probably too good to pass up on, and here, this is the advantage of playing the Generalist, is we can take this +2 ranged damage, which would normally be a blank, for this weapon set, and then we'll roll, lock yet another weird food, wow, and then I'll roll again, and I'll take a tentacle. Javelin doesn't benefit that much from buying crit chance, because you get the automatic critical hits, but it does benefit from the crit synergy items, because it has the automatic critical hit. And the crit chance isn't completely useless on Javelin, even though you buy it at effectively a reduced rate. And it's still quite good on spears, so totally reasonable to buy crit chance, especially in the form of tentacle on this character. So here you can see the plan kind of in action. We have these large AoE piercing weapons, so when we kill one of the summoners, we get to clear the summons very quickly, which is very, very important on this map, and why we've chosen this weapon set. I'll take 2 more armor, and Schmoop, unfortunately, you can't buy on this character, because it's -4 melee damage, so even though this would normally be an excellent buy, we just have to roll past it. I'll take the spear here. Do I want the insanity? I guess so, because we have the tentacle. I wouldn't normally be that excited about buying crit chance here in the form of something like insanity, but with tentacle, I think it's a little better. I did leave some materials on the ground last wave, so making sure we pick those up this wave. Also, I need to kill the slasher, and I need to kill the enhanced spitter. The enhanced spitter, another reason for this weapon set, because the main thing about those enemies is they hide behind everything else, and can be really challenging for melee characters, short-ranged melee characters to deal with, or ranged characters without pierce. Another reason that the normal weapon set with Slingshot and Cacti Club can suffer on this map. Here, I'm going to roll. I could take 5 attack speed, but I feel like I can get at least a level 2 level up with some sort of damage. And we'll take the 4 melee damage over the 2 armor. I've managed to pick up a decent amount of armor, but my damage output is bad, so we need to fix that. And then here, normally, again, I would hard roll for armor in this spot, but we'll just take the 3 ranged damage, which equals 6 melee damage, and actually fix our weapon damage here. And by the insanity, Catling Gun does scale okay for this character, because we are going to end up with a bunch of random ranged damage, but I just find that these pets are generally not great for Crash Zone in particular, because they're going to break summoners and stuff like that that you don't want them to. So I'm just going to ban both of these items and get our free reroll. I'll take the defective steroids. I'll ban Terrified Onion. I do want more move speed, but it's a bad way to buy it typically. And we'll ban Small Fish. Decomposing Flesh I can take. That'll actually be a lot of healing. And then I'm going to reroll. Lock a Coffee and lock a Beanie, and we'll roll one more time. And I was looking for weapon levels, but Warrior Helmet is a phenomenal find, of course. So now we've picked up a little more damage output, so we should be in much better shape for this wave. For wave 9, I want attack speed. That's what's going to help solve wave 9 most easily, and it is one of the best ways to scale these weapons as well, which attack pretty slowly. So attack speed is a pretty high value pickup here if we can find it. Get that tree kill, keep dodging, keep trying to pick up materials. Get that tree. Wave 8 can be pretty challenging for low damage build, but we have built our character. Again, this weapon set is a little better for wave 8. I will take the Ugly Tooth. I think that can be okay going into boss waves. And then I'll pick up the movement speed because I'm about to buy a Warrior Helmet as well and reduce my move speed. I'll take the Beanie here. We'll just ban the Medical Turret and get a free reroll. And then Banner is perfect. I need as much attack speed as I can get. I'll take a Fresh Meat as well. I obviously want regeneration, but Lifesteal's okay for this character. And we're building a bunch of it. So we'll just buy both regen and Lifesteal whenever they show up. Alright, so I don't really want to kill both summoners at once, where possible. I'm going to kill one here and clear as many of the summons as I can as they spawn. Then we'll run over here and get the other summon that's still on the field. It's okay to take a hit sometimes to clear the summons immediately, because it can save you multiple hits later on. As long as you have okay healing. And since we have really good consumable healing on this build, we're relatively safe to try to clear the summons right away, even at the cost of some HP, because we can fix that. But what we can't fix is taking 20 hits in a row from the little goobers running around and just dying. Get that tree, pick up materials in the center of the map here, and we made okay income. We'll take the ritual for sure. I'll take 8% damage. My percent damage was pretty bad. Here I'll take 15 luck because it's a high level upgrade. I will upgrade our spears. So this is a spot where the Generalist is a little more awkward because we have to level our weapons very unevenly. And we'll roll. Roll again. Cute Monkey. So on this character, Cute Monkey costs you 2 melee damage to buy, which is one of the reasons that this character often is worse than a character without its ability at all. Is efficient items like Cute Monkey or Peaceful Bee or whatever are really hard to buy. And you can't buy Mastery, which in general is one of the best melee character items in the entire game. This character can't use it. I think I will buy the Cute Monkey, even though it comes with a -2 melee damage penalty. It's just such good healing. And we'll take the spear, take the plant. I have decomposing flesh, so I don't think I want the bone dice here. I'm already trading HP for stats, and I don't want to do that too much more. And I also need items that are going to pay off in the short term, because we're going into our boss waves. So an item like Bone Dice that takes a long time to actually do anything, we don't want to pick up. I think people often look at the sort of endgame stats of Bone Dice and go, this is a really efficient item, because it'll often be, you know, 15 damage for -3 health, which is, for the cost, price you'll almost always be happy to pay. But you have to think about how many waves it took to reach that point and whether it was worth spending the money getting to that point, and whether it made you stronger at the time in the wave that you actually needed it, in the run that you actually needed it, not just in the end game. I'll take the Alien Worm. We have plus 9 consumable heal, so we're in pretty good shape there, and we'll take 9 HP because it's a high-level upgrade. Buy the plant here to get to positive regen. I'll roll again. Piercing shots are actually okay because we do have javelins, but we definitely don't want sharp bullet. This is not a boss wave, so I think I can get away with the bait, and that'll help fix my percent damage. Finally got a javelin upgrade, and then we'll buy bag and helmet. I can't really buy Peaceful Bee because it cost me 3 melee damage to pick that up. I will take Claw Tree, though, and Alloy is actually alright. It gives, we're not going to be building dodge. It's going to give us 9 melee damage, and 5 crit chance for 200 materials, which is a totally reasonable ratio. I have to kill the enhanced spitters, and again, this is why we're using these piercing weapons, because this wave, they'll hide behind the high health enemies and can be hard to take down if you're using a ranged weapon or a short-range melee weapon. But this character doesn't have as much of a problem with them. And since those are some of the most dangerous enemies in the game, this weapon set really helps avoid running into that problem. I'm gonna run for the tree here, and yeah, it took a lot of damage at the end there. We still, I mean, we have 14 armor, but enemies do so much damage on Nightmare, it can still get you. Here I'm just gonna take 3 more armor. Always good to buy armor. I will buy the Javelin, buy the Alloy, and I guess I can still buy Goat Skull. So now we should be one-shotting the Horde enemies much more frequently, and we'll lock another Javelin here. And then go to wave 12. We'll probably end up hiding in the corner for most of this wave. But I'm going to start by trying to at least clear some of the high priority enemies at the beginning. As I've said many times before, something I really like about Nightmare Mode is it really makes you think about the order in which you kill enemies, which on lower difficulties you mostly don't have to. And I find that to be a much more interesting puzzle to solve. I'm going to run over here and grab some materials, just to make sure we're not leaving too many on the ground. And our high consumable healing means that we can make those little sorties safely. And with just a few seconds left in the wave, we'll run out. But you can see that we are starting to fall a little bit behind in terms of income. That was a Horde wave. We made very little money. Here I'm going to take 15 attack speed. My attack speed is very bad. We'll buy a Javelin. This is kind of a perfect spot to buy Knot. And this character is pretty difficult. Now, I don't like buying Knot in general because I think it's less fun, but as always, if you're just looking to win, you should just buy the Knot here. I'm going to roll. I'll pick up a Javelin. We'll buy a Lure. We'll buy a Mushroom. Roll again. We can buy another Goat Skull. I could mirror the Goat Skull. Community Support I will buy. I think we'll pass on the mirror. There's nothing... without something good to mirror in that shop, I usually don't like locking mirror. Because there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to mirror something useful. And we really need to be much stronger going into wave 14. Because that's the wave we're really scared about. Another important reason to buy Knot, potentially, there, of course, is wave 14 is super dangerous, so making yourself much stronger going into the part of the wave part of the run that could actually cost you the run, is pretty good. Alright, I want to avoid killing that curse alien. We're on Crash Zone. I really don't want to get cursed. I thought, did I see a loot alien? Yes, I did. Okay. I thought I had seen one in the right-hand side of the map there. So we got it. 4 crates this wave is kind of ridiculous, I have to say. We'll take the jelly, a little better on the Generalist since you have 2 weapons. I'm going to recycle Starfish. Definitely don't want this going into wave 14. Starfish, I think you usually just shouldn't buy on Nightmare mode. It's too dangerous. Enemies do so much damage already. It's very difficult for your defenses to keep up with the increased damage. And it's just the easiest way to throw a run. I'll buy a spear. I'll buy Goat Skull. I'll roll. I think, given that we're going into an elite wave on wave 14, I'm just going to upgrade the Javelin here, and we'll wait on buying the bag. Because even though that's giving up 15 materials from the... I gotta kill the summons. And again, I gotta kill the summons instead of focusing the elite. Even though that's giving up a few materials from the red crate from the elite, it's really important that I not... That I kill the elite quickly and that I be capable of one-shotting the summons as they spawn. Otherwise, this wave is going to be really hard. A wave 14 elite is definitely the most difficult thing in the game on Crash Zone, because the elite takes all of your attention, which means it's very challenging not to let a million summons spawn. And so the end of the wave, especially if the elite wasn't dead yet, can be just pure chaos with all of the projectiles. Now, I should have the defenses and strong consumable healing to be able to just tank through if I start taking hits. So that let me go pick up a few materials, but you saw how difficult that wave was. I'm very glad I upgraded my weapon there. I'm going to take the percent damage over the regen here. Our percent damage is very bad. I'll buy these items and roll. Alloy we'll take again. Blindfold, I don't really need. The 5 crit chance is fine, but not that exciting. So I think I'm gonna, and we're at negative 12 dodge. So I'm just gonna roll past that. We'll take the spear. I will take the insanity, even though we are buying it effectively at half rate on our javelins, right? Normally this would be 6% crit chance from insanity, but on javelin, we already have a guaranteed crit every second attack. It's basically like buying 3% crit chance. But it's still at full value on our spears, and we do have reasonable damage, so getting those crits on the not guaranteed criticals is still pretty good. Basically, on Javelin, you should value crit chance lower, but not at 0. And on Spear, you should value crit chance normally. So we're valuing it very slightly lower than we would on a normal run, but that's gonna change our shopping only occasionally because we're only valuing it a little bit lower. One of the most difficult things in doing this, in doing YouTube guides, is trying to explain when you should change your opinion on something slightly, but not entirely. Because people will tend to think in absolutes, and if you say, this is worse on this character, or worse on this weapon, or whatever, people believe you're saying it's completely useless, 100% garbage, and so on. And often that's not the case. We're trying to make a very subtle distinction here. I'll roll here. Big arms. Now this is an item that gets better for the Generalist, because we get plus 24 melee damage by buying the big arms. We'll take the Lost Duck. I'll take a black belt as well, and we'll go to wave 16 here. Now wave 16 would normally be incredibly challenging for the Slingshot Cacti Club build because of the enhanced flies. So again, the choice of weapon here is very important, because we can kill them with very few projectiles produced, since only our javelins do, and they should usually 1 or 2 tap the enhanced flies, so we don't have to worry about getting a lot of projectile spawns. Now, I do still need to clear the buffing aliens very aggressively. If too many enemies get buffed in this wave, that can be a real challenge for us. I should be able to just run through the center of the map and pick up materials, though. Normally, if you're a ranged character on wave 16, you have to hide in the corner for the end of the wave, but I didn't feel like we needed to do that here. I'm about to buy the big arms and alloy, so let's take some percent damage here, because that'll multiply those base damage numbers massively. And then I will just take the black belt, because I can buy the fresh meat as well, which I want. And it does mean we've had this alloy locked for several waves, but we've just had more important things to buy. Alright, so I had to kill the buffing alien, and then I have to chase down those summons. Wave 17, of course, still has many of the challenges of the previous wave. Oops. Okay, I didn't mean to kill that curse alien. I don't think it's going to come back to bite us. I'll take the gentle alien here, because it's late enough in the run that if a couple cursed enemies spawn, no big deal. We're skipping starfish again, of course. I'll take the weird food here. My move speed is terrible. I hadn't really noticed how bad my move speed was, so I do need to fix that, of course. We'll buy the compass, lock a javelin. Now that I have a pointed curse, I'll take Corrupted Shard, because the percent damage is useful, and we're not going to have 0 cursed enemies spawning, so I think that's fine. Alright. This is a tough wave for sure to get this elite on, because the buffing aliens and the chargers put so much pressure on your movement, and our attack speed is still not amazing with this weapon set. And what you need for this wave is really high damage and attack speed to clear the chargers, especially the buffed chargers, before they overwhelm you. So when a lot of your attacks are going to the elite instead, it can be much more challenging. So I need to kill the summons, I need to kill the enhanced slashers, some slasher eggs. I want to get this loot alien kill as well. I saw it much earlier in the wave, but it was more important to focus on clearing the dangerous enemies. I knew if I kept those down, we would be able to clean up the loot alien eventually. And then we can use that red crate as a full heal near the end of the wave, in order just to make sure that we don't die going into the end game. Take the regeneration here. Okay, we'll take 12 speed, because that fixes my move speed. Small magazine is great for this character, because we get 4 melee damage and 10 attack speed out of it. And we'll buy the compass as well, still, because I do still want positive move speed. Sure, we'll take a beanie as well. Now my move speed is perfect. Buy a duct tape, and power generator, it's plus 8% damage for 200. I think that's okay. My percent damage is pretty bad, so that'll help me kill the bosses a lot faster. And again, this wave, we're focusing on clearing the eggs so that we don't have to deal with the high health enemies, and chasing down the buffing aliens so that we don't have to deal with too many buffed enemies. Get this tree. Oh, we got a buff loot alien here, but we were able to take it out anyways. Took a bunch of damage there, so I need to heal back up. And, oh, there's a loot alien. Can I get it before the end of the wave? No. Sadly, I had a little too much knockback, because we have 10 knockback, so it was pushing it away there. We'll take some more percent damage, and then here, woo, 3 armor or 8 melee damage. Either are really good finds. I think I'm going to take the level 4 upgrade. I think we're okay on melee damage right now. We'll take the power generator. It's plus 8% damage, but that's still worthwhile going into level 20. Baby with a beard is not bad sometimes on this character, though on Crash Zone can be dangerous because the projectiles can make the enhanced flies scarier. Riposte is a little too expensive. Scope is 4 melee damage, but costs attack speed. I'm going to pass on that. I'll take the boxing glove here. I'll roll. I can't upgrade my javelin. Missile. I don't think we want either. We're getting pretty unlucky on finding relevant items in the last shop here. I guess I'll take a Lost Duck because it can maybe heal us a little bit more, and then I'll just roll through. Well, we would have been thrilled with a Cursed Leather Vest. That would have been amazing, but alas, it was not to be. But let's go to wave 20 and see how fast our javelins can kill the bosses. This, of course, another reason that this weapon set works well on this character is javelin is really good for killing elites and bosses with the guaranteed crits. I have to back off a bit at the start of the wave. We're still fairly reliant on lifesteal and consumable heal. So when there's fewer enemies on the field, those healing methods are weaker. So we just wanted to make sure that there were enough enemies out there to give us healing. And then we'll dodge around a little bit until the boss comes back over, and then we can kill it. So that, I think, shows why this is a somewhat difficult character, but we were able to get a fairly clean run with the Generalist here. Obviously, getting 4 weird foods and a jerky is going to make any run easier, so definitely some luck there. 170 healing from tentacles, so obviously that did very well. The cute monkey gave us 102 healing at the cost of 2 melee damage. I think it was worth it. This one's a little on the edge. We did get triple bag, but not until quite late. One interesting thing about this run is we actually had very few economy items early. Normally you'd get at least like a coupon or a bag or a fertilizer or something. We were really struggling with money in the early game. But the triple bag in the end game helped close things out with at least an okay economy. And we did hit level 24 off of double black belt. We had Sift's Relic in the end game for more armor. And then we did get the big arms, which gave us a huge boost to our damage in the late game. As well as double alloy, also worth 9 damage and 5 crit chance each. Alright, my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this run with the Generalist, and of course, if you have, then feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato and other strategy game analysis. Here's folks, I'll catch you next time.